Nassau Community College.
A 2019 Marconi Award finalist from the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC HD Garden City.
Available anytime on your smart speaker.
And anywhere on iHeartRadio.
90.3 WHPC wants you to know that you can view incredible canned food structures and help fight hunger at Construction Long Island 2019 at RXR Plaza in Uniondale now through November 18th. You are encouraged to bring a can of food to cast your vote for the People's Choice Awards. By voting for the NCC design team and their structure called Wash Away Hunger, your donation will directly benefit the Nest Food Pantry at Nassau Community College. Other donations benefit the Interfaith Nutrition Network, Island Harvest Food Bank, and Long Island Cares, the Harry Chapin Food Bank, all to feed hungry Long Islanders. More information can be found online at canstructionli.org. That's canstructionli.org.
This show is brought to you by Disney on Ice presents Road Trip Adventure, coming to NYCB Live, home of the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, November 21st through the 30th. Mickey, Minnie, and you embark on a ride to your favorite Disney destinations.
See the world from the rooftops of London. Travel to the sun-soaked Motunui. Set off on a safari to the Pride Lands. And play at a larger-than-life carnival with Woody and Forky.
It's a getaway packed with unexpected hijinks and up-close character interactions.
More information is available online at DisneyOnIce.com.
Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. My name is Bill Horan and I'm here today with Nassau Community College student Corey Kaufman. And today we're shining the spotlight on a leading lady who started her own business with her own bar studio.
Wait. What's this about a bar? I didn't know we were allowed to drink during these shows.
Don't get too excited, Corey. It's not that kind of bar we're talking about. It's a relatively new trending type of exercising class that maybe by the end of this interview we should be signing up for. Joining us today is Suzanne Villani, owner of Bar Blend, located at 1615 Merrick Road in Merrick. Suzanne, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, explain to us, what is bar? And we should start off by saying to our audience, that's spelled B-A-R-R-E.
That's correct.
And it's a type of exercising, so you fill us in.
Yes, so bar is a workout inspired by elements of ballet and other formats of fitness that focuses on low-impact full-body workout utilizing a wall-mounted bar, just like you would see in a dance studio.
Okay, but it's really not, you correct me before when we were talking before the show, it's really not a dance per se move, it's an exercise class.
That's correct.
The bar just, I guess, helps us like a barbell would help us or a kettlebell or something.
The bar is a stationary prop that's used during the class that you actually rest your arm on for balance and form, so you're able to do movements with proper form. It's isolated movements, meaning you contract muscles slowly one at a time, and you're not moving a lot, so you're using your core to hold you up, and the bar is there just to rest and keep proper form.
So it's my understanding you have a background in dance. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Belmore, and I went to what they called back in those days BOCES Cultural Arts Center, which is Long Island High School for the Performing Arts. My background is dance. I went to college and became a paralegal, but always taught dance at local dance studios. And I retired about 10 years ago or so, and that's when I got interested in bar, continuing with a dance studio type of feel and focusing more on fitness.
Now, Corey, I'm probably jumping over into some of your questions, but is bar something new? Is that the way it's referred to, bar?
It is referred to as bar, and believe it or not, you'd be surprised to know it's actually pretty old. It started in the 50s. In London, there was a woman named Lottie Burke. She was a ballerina who founded this type of class, and a student of hers brought it here to New York in the early 70s and opened the first bar studio in Manhattan. That studio was around until 2005, believe it or not. It's becoming more and more popular today because they're starting to have these classes in big box gyms. So people are getting more used to seeing it, but it's something that's been around for many, many years.
I haven't heard that term, the big box gym.
The big box gym.
So this is a little more intimate, and you can work with them a little closer than the big
Absolutely.
box gyms.
And you'll see if you take a bar class in a big box gym, as I'm going to call it, they typically do not have wall-mounted bars. They take up a lot of space. So they'll allow clients to use body bars, which you would work out with, and you hold it the opposite way and you use it for your balance. If you take a bar class with a wall-mounted bar, it's a total different experience, a total different class. You really can't compare the two, so it's really worthwhile to give it a try at a little boutique studio.
And is bar a good route? Is it more for ladies or for men? When we kind of have the picture of dance in there, we have an image of who we think would be going there. But is it for someone who's a senior like me, a young man like Corey, a young woman who may be going to school?
Absolutely. Bar is really great for everybody, men, women, children, seniors. The trick about bar is finding a class that you enjoy. There's a multitude of classes just ranging with music and movement. So you're going to want to find something that you just find interesting so that you're focusing on the moves instead of feeling silly like you're at a bar. Really, unless it's a dance created bar class, it's a full body workout. It's good for men and women. I just recently did a conditioning program with a local men's college basketball team. It was a great class for flexibility. The guys really liked it. They related to the class. They're definitely going to do it again. So I would say everybody really should give it a chance.
And a basketball team now, a college basketball team is doing this, you said.
Yes, I just did it last Friday night at their school, and we really got a great result from it.
So that opens up, I guess, a whole new market there. Why would someone choose bar over simply getting some weights and working with them, or what else is popular today? Maybe riding a bicycle or walking 20 miles?
Unless you try it, I think it's hard to really picture. You're actually working muscles and lengthening muscles without having any injuries on the joints. So athletes in particular, basketball players, they're jumping, they're running, they're kicking. They do a lot of heavy lifting as it is. So to add something in that's going to help them bend lower to jump higher without straining is really great, and it slows them down. Also, a good bar instructor will focus on form. Form is really important in athletes, especially. I'm finding that a lot of times they're not really putting their balance in the right spot. And if you take a minute just to really pay attention to where your weight is, you're getting so much deeper into your positions and so much better results in your jumps and your runs. So a bar class is something that really can take the time just to point these things out, and you do it over and over again, becomes second nature, and they really wouldn't get that riding a bicycle.
Corey, I'm just thinking, if that college basketball team has a good season, you're just going to see lots and lots of tall people walking into Bar Blend.
Absolutely.
And our guest, Suzanne, being very, very happy having them come in. But that'll be the newest cool thing in the sporting world if they have a good season.
And I figure at the very least, their moms will come to class.
But for them, certainly it makes sense, because on a basketball player, legs are so important. The constant running, the constant pounding and going up and down the court, jumping, of course. And
Absolutely. When I was getting ready to do the class, I was thinking, how do you connect with college boy basketball players, with a bar class? So, really, when I thought about it, it's not that much different than dance. The floor is really your focus in any bar class, in any fitness class, just walking down the street. So if you really connect yourself weight with the floor, you use it really as your friends, and that's really what you're getting out of a bar class. Great form, just gives you really good results.
The floor is your friend. I like that saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I want to know, what inspired you to open up your own bar class? Like, when did Bar Blend open?
So I opened this year in January. I've been certified in bar for the last 3 years. I was teaching for a yoga studio. So I really got great results from bringing bar to the studio. I found it got really popular. And working for somebody, I think you're limited in your creativity. So because of my dance background, I took my bar certifications and really took it one step further and just made up a lot of different types of classes so that I was able to offer these types of classes on a daily basis instead of just once or twice a week. So that really was my idea was to make a variety of classes that can bring people back multiple times during the week, and they'll feel like they're not doing the same thing.
Wow. Okay. So you are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Corey Kaufman, along with Bill Horan. And today we're talking about the popular fitness regime Bar with Suzanne Villani, owner of Bar Blend, located at the rear of 1615 Merrick Road in Merrick.
I'm sorry, Corey, I interrupted you.
So it seems like Bar it seems like it's the new thing, and do you think it's like, you remember when CrossFit got really popular and it was like that was the it thing for a while?
Absolutely.
Do you think Bar is like, we're going to see a lot more bar places?
I have to be honest with you. Bar has been pretty popular on the West Coast for years. I think it's relatively new on the East Coast. I think the organizations that are doing certifications for bar instructors on the East Coast have actually geared themselves towards big box gyms. So I really don't anticipate there being a bar studio on every corner. I think that they're becoming more popular, and I'm hoping that people will really dedicate themselves and take the time and make small studios that are really focused and dedicated just to bar, as opposed to just throwing a bar class into a studio, so that people can really get the benefit out of the bar class. I don't know. I think that it's been popular for years, and for some reason, I think the amount of studios around, I'm happy to say, isn't really that many.
So you have a monopoly.
Hopefully,
all right.
Hopefully it'll stay relatively small.
Suzanne, what are some of the benefits of taking a bar class and then continuing with bar?
Bar is like any other exercise. If you work on flexibility, for instance, if you take a class for a few months and then stop taking the class for a few months and go back to the class, it's like you just started over. So it's one of those things that you're only going to get more and more from it because your muscle memory. So, once you build muscle, you'll start to grow. Your body will change physically. Your appearance will change. So I think it's something that, even myself, my body gets more and more used to exercises, and I get more and more flexible. My extensions become greater. So I think it's a class just like dance that you always can grow from. You always come up with new ideas and new movements. So I think it's something that really...
Speaking from the older population, we're not looking seriously to be the 20-inch bicep. First of all, our clothes wouldn't fit. We'd have to buy all new clothes, and that'd be a lot of trouble. But really, we do want and look for, if we could get more flexibility, get up and down, out of bed, out of the pool, without going, ouch, that hurts. And I think that's what most of us are looking for, and from what I understand from you, that's what this is, low impact.
Yep.
And you were even telling me it's especially good for people with knee and hip problems, which surprised me.
Yeah. If you, have an injury and you have a good instructor, they'll give you modifications that you can build muscles around. If it's your knee, for instance, you'll take your hamstring and your quad, you'll build muscles there, restrict your range of motion in the knee, focus on your form, and next thing you know, you're having less pain because you're using muscles around the knee instead of the joint that's actually hurt. I think it's great for people with hip problems because you're big on form, you're standing straight, you're using your core, your spine is straight, you're going to find yourself growing a quarter of an inch, without even realizing it. And it's great for strong bones. So, it's something that people should do for as long as they possibly could get out of bed.
And I've always heard that to build up the muscles around the injured part or the part that's giving you some trouble, to take away some of that pressure on it and also allow you to use the muscle that's giving you a problem or the area properly, so you don't kind of compensate and then make things worse. So.
Exactly.
Is there any success stories that you could share?
I have some dedicated clients that have come, to the studio since I've opened, and they followed me for the past year or so, and their own personal results, their changes in their body, they're feeling great, they're looking great. I'm amazed at how flexible they've become. I've had some people that, loved the concept of a ballet bar class, but never, could see themselves doing any sort of dance movements. So, here was somebody, doing what we would call a plie, and, they're squatting, they're not understanding the concept of where your weight is, and here they are now today, they're showing new people, oh yeah, we do pliés in all these positions. So, to me, it's great to see because somebody becomes something that they never thought they'd be comfortable becoming. And it just, happens naturally and they enjoy it. I enjoy watching it. So.
Yeah, and you haven't even been open for that long. You said January, right?
I opened in January. I do have some clients that have followed me from, a previous studio. But yeah, it seems, I've been told it's, Merrick's best kept secret. So,
well, you have people coming in the back door, so it does seem secretive.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we'll let you in, but what's the secret word? Suzanne. Okay.
Exactly.
And you were telling me too, and we were talking about it. I'm a very bad golfer, but golfers are always talking about flexibility, especially as they get older. And if you look at Long Island golf courses, most of our players are older, and this adds flexibility to their bodies. And in the golf terms, which is gold, and it's like free money. If you can add 10 yards or 20 yards to a drive, they come home, and that's like the bicep to a senior golfer. Oh, I hit it 250 today, or 230, or 210, or whatever would be an advancement for them, and they're on cloud 9. So if you can get a little trial group working on that you are going to be, it won't be a secret anymore. Those golfers and the tall guys will be lining up. You won't even have room for your regular clientele.
Yeah, and I run, and sometimes I'll just forget to stretch before I like start running, and it's like it really beats you up after. Like you'll wake up and not be able to like get out of bed.
Oh, and then you have that tightness in the muscle.
Yeah, because your legs are just dead. So like stretching is important. Like, it's the most important part.
That's something we really have to go into with Suzanne afterward. But right now it's time for the break. And to remind our audience that I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Corey Kaufman. And today we're talking about the popular fitness regimen, Bar, with Suzanne Villani, owner of Bar Blend, located at 1615 Merrick Road in Merrick. And remember, go in the back door. You're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Women Heart is in a race to save lives. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. It's 80% preventable if you know the facts. Millions of women are living with or at risk of different types of heart disease, like AFib, which is a type of irregular heartbeat. It affects both women and men, but women with AFib have a higher risk of stroke and death than men. Get educated. See your doctor. Know the facts. Diet and exercise are key to staying healthy. Know the risks. Women Heart does something really unique, solely focusing on women and providing peer-to-peer support. To win this race, we all have to do it together. Our hearts beat as one. To learn more, visit womenheart.org.
And now we return to My Hometown.
Thanks for being with us here today on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Corey Kaufman, and today we're talking about the popular fitness regimen, Bar, with Suzanne Villani, owner of Bar Blend, located at 1615 Merrick Road in Merrick. And remember, go in the back door.
So you were telling us before that really what Bar Blend specializes in it's a boutique, it's a small studio, and it sounds like it's a much more intimate, more personal workout than if you would take a bar class at a larger gym. You called them big box gyms.
Yes.
So what I want to know is like, what is the size of these classes? Like a range of people on the usual day.
My studio is small, so it is boutique and small. So my max size class for bar class would be 12 people. I'd like to keep classes at 10 or lower. I find that I'd like to really get to know the clients, have a relationship with them, get to know everybody's injuries, their fears. You'd be surprised some people, are afraid to do a squat. So once you're able to do that, you're able to work with them and become like a little family, and it just makes the class better for them, better for me. If you go to a big gym, which I call a big box gym, there could be 50 people in the class. The instructor has no idea who anyone is. The instructor doesn't know if you have an injury. I think it's really important that people take a class, especially for the first time. They wake up sore the next day. The second day is usually the most. Sore is one thing, hurt is another. So if you had a bad injury, a bad knee perhaps, and I didn't restrict your range of motion because I didn't know you had a bad knee, you bend too far, your knee hurts, you're going to say, bar's not for me. and you're never coming back to the bar class. If I know who you are and I take 5 seconds to, say, hey, this isn't going to work for you, you have to keep your heels down because your injury, you're getting the stretching, you're getting the soreness of the muscles around it, but you're not feeling any injury. So you're going to come back, you're going to love it. And I think that's really for any class. I feel like when classes are too big, you don't get that one-on-one attention. You don't get to, really focus on making sure that you're getting the most out of the class.
Now, I think you mentioned when we were talking before that form is important. What are you looking for when you're working with people on bar exercises or a program? I'm maybe not using the right terms there.
Yeah, no, form is really, really important. So if you're standing, you want to make sure that you're stacked. So your head is really straight, lifting up toward the sky. Your shoulders are square facing forward. Your shoulders are straight over your hips. You'd be surprised. Some people usually will shift their weight into one side or the other. While you're standing there, you want to feel your weight from the tip of your toes all the way through your heel. Core is engaged. Your weight is centered. So, if you start in a good form, you do an exercise, you'll execute it properly, and you'll get the best results out of it.
I don't know if you noticed me moving while you were talking. I'm thinking, I'm leaning to my right. You're watching me. I'm with the expert. I better get at least, even though I'm sitting down, we certainly aren't doing bar exercises.
I'm all of a sudden so self-conscious of my posture.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised it makes such a difference. You could do this even just at home. And you know what? If you're sitting up in your chair and core's engaged, you'll be sore tomorrow because you just don't even realize
You're using new muscles.
You're using muscles that you wouldn't ordinarily use. And if your core is strong, you're going to have less pressure. Guess what? Your back will stop hurting. And that's really the great thing about a bar class. You're really going to build up the muscles that are important and take some pressure off the muscles that are doing too much work.
See what you've done already? You're teaching us, and we're not even in your studio. We're both sitting up correctly and thinking, am I leaning? Are you looking at me? Am I leaning to the left, to the right? Am I centered? So, Corey?
So what I'm curious about is one of the biggest hurdles to getting into workout is keeping kind of the workout fresh. So how do you kind of change? Do you change it up every week?
That's a great question.
Are there different types of bar classes? Is there hot bar?
Well, bar typically
yoga?
ends hot, but no, I do not. I do not like hot bar, and only because I can't stand sweating, and I sweat pretty easily. No, I think that I like to start the class with everybody coming in cold from the street because you really do a proper warm up. Your muscles get warm, and you create your own heat. I feel like for me personally, if I'm hot when I walk in the door, I can't wait to get out of there. So it's a great question, though, about changing it up. I'm huge on changing it up. You'll never take my class and feel like it's been the same class. So constantly new playlists. I always change the order of things. There are basic exercises in a bar class that you're always going to work on. Your lunges, your squats, some extensions, but you change the order. You add a pulse, you add a heel raise. Mm-hmm. To you, it's a new exercise. So I'm always keeping the classes different.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. How it's there's an element of dance in it. It's what kind of music are you playing usually?
So depending on the class.
What's the Spotify playlist?
I have lots of Spotify playlists. So a ballet bar class, I have classical music. I'll have, bardio class is dance music. I do theme classes, so I'll have a country class. It's all country music. I'll do 80s when I, ask people to come in fluorescent clothes just to keep it fun. Cool. So lots and lots of playlists.
What's wrong with, wait, those are my regular clothes, those fluorescent clothes.
It sounds like a lot of fun, doing some pirouettes to some Marvin Gaye,
There you go.
So you are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Corey Kaufman, along with Bill Horan, and today we're talking about the popular fitness regime bar with Suzanne Villani, owner of Bar Blend, located at the rear of 1615 Merrick Road in Merrick.
Suzanne, you used a word in there. I think you snuck it in for a lot of us, but I picked it up because I'm sharp now that I've had the good posture. What's bardio? Did I hear that correctly?
You heard bardio.
Okay.
So bardio is a class I created. It's a bar class with a cardio concept. So it's going to be the fastest of the classes at my studio. Heart rate will be increased for a majority of the time. So still low impact, always holding on, always 1 foot on the ground, but moving pretty quickly. You will do jumping jacks, do some mountain climbers. It is the highest intensity class that I offer at the studio, but cardio, Still good for everybody because there are modifications that you could use. Being that there's a bar there, you can always move one foot, one arm. You always have that balance if you need it. Even in my regular bar classes, I'll find if people need to be a little bit challenged, they're in the middle of doing something on their toes. I'm like, okay, hands are off the bar, because everybody gets back in check and their core's engaged and they have to pull themselves up. People can get lazy in a bar class like any other class, and use the bar to hold them up. That's another thing I'm big on. I'm making sure hands are just touching the bar, not gripping the bar.
I would think a misconception would be something that I spoke to you about before the show. I think of when I think of someone, say, bar exercises, or that room and usually has a mirror on the side when I see it on TV, or at least the way they portray it. Do your clients have to be dancers involved with dance, or should they be? Does that matter if they're a total klutz like someone at this table who's talking now?
You do not need to have any dance background. The bar is purely there just for balance. And a funny thing is when people call me, say, I was interested in trying a bar class, but I have to tell you, I can't put my foot on the bar. You're never going to put your foot on the bar.
I thought that was...
No, and I do have a stretch class where, people do work their way up to getting their foot on the bar, and you'd be surprised most people can actually do it. But no, you don't need to have a dance background. You do not need to be able to put your foot on the bar. You don't have to put your foot over your head. The only connection really that has to dance is the actual bar itself.
And you used another word that's really, I guess, popular and cool because some football players are using it now and athletes, core. Does this work, whatever is considered to be the core muscles? And
Absolutely.
Explain that to us.
Absolutely. So, with any exercise, proper form typically will involve core, but bar in particular, you're standing up straight. Once you take one foot off the floor, if you could visualize yourself doing that, you're automatically going to rest your weight in the standing hip because that's where everybody's balance is. If you make sure your shoulders stay put over the hips, use your core to pull you up, your balance actually comes from the belly. And the head is straight, and I say straight between the shoulders because you're reaching, even sitting down, you want to think about your head reaching toward the sky and everything coming out of the center. So the class focuses on core the entire time without realizing it because I'm constantly like, pull up guys, pull up guys, pull up guys. If I have you, in a wide V with your feet, meaning your feet are separated, you're on your toes and your legs are bent, and you're holding on, and I say take your arm off the bar, guess what? You have to use that core or you're going to fall forward. Okay, so core is always engaged during a bar class. It's a great, we do abs at the end of every class for a few minutes, but you're using your core the entire time. And
I'm just thinking, you never, or at least I haven't seen an overweight dancer or someone who's out of shape. Certainly, they might be a few pounds more than the required on the doctor's list, but they're always in good shape and physically fit.
Absolutely.
So,
and you will definitely get toned legs, even if that's not really what you're looking for. And having legs that are in shape is great for your whole life. You just feel better about yourself. You feel better, and you know what? You want to be able to walk. So, the stronger your legs are, the better off you're going to be. There's really no doubt about it. So,
what I'm curious about is who are the types of people coming to your class? Are these older people? Are these younger people? Are these people who are already in shape, or they're trying to get into shape, or maybe they tone their muscles?
Typically, my range of clientele is from about 30 to 55, and it's sort of funny because I do get some younger people that come take bar, and they take bar because they danced, so they just assume it's dancey. Older people I found attract themselves to bar because they've tried yoga, and they hear a ballet bar class, and that will be their introduction to bar, and it's something that's nothing like yoga. However, they feel like they can connect it because they're afraid of high impact classes. So, most of my clients don't particularly care for a CrossFit type of high impact class. But then, I have a lot of them that do CrossFit, and they come to me for their toning and their stretching to keep themselves flexible. I have a lot of runners take my class. It's really a real range of different people, and I think a lot of people realize if they combine bar with other types of fitness, overall it's just a really great thing to include.
And I think you told us before the show, if someone wants to just walk in and give it a try, they can do that. They
Absolutely.
don't have to commit to anything. It's not
Nope.
a yearly package or something.
No membership fee. You can come and take a class anytime. I welcome everybody to give it a try.
Well, I thank you for all the information, for both Corey and myself, for educating us on the field of bar, what's included, etc., and for being here today. Suzanne Villani, owner of Bar Blend, located at 1615 Merrick Road in Merrick. And remember, go in the back door, so don't get lost. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you so
with
much
us
for
today.
having me.
We'd like to remind our audience that I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Corey Kaufman, and today we're thanking you for being with us on 90.3 WHPC.
We like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.
The views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to WHPC@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Vote WHPC for the best radio station on Long Island at bestoflongisland.com.
Do it! Just do it!
90.3 WHPC.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi everyone. This is Jewish Talk coming to you live from Nassau Community College on 90.3 WHPC. Also streaming on the iHeart and the iTunes app. We can be seen in the studios on my Facebook Live page and Facebook of this great station, WHPC. This program is later archived on Spreaker.com. So hi there, my name is Rabbi Pearl. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome everyone. This all depends on when you're listening and watching. So my dear friends, have you ever found yourself wishing that there were more than 24 hours in the day? Well, this weekend, in case you didn't know, your dream came true. With the clock change last night on Saturday night, right after Shabbos, we were gifted with an extra hour. You see, we are blessed to live in the greatest era of technological breakthrough of all times. So the question we're asking ourselves today is, what are you doing with all that extra time? According to the latest information, Netflix subscribers around the world consume approximately, don't hold me to this, but 164 million hours of Netflix every day. In an attempt to allow its subscribers to consume even more in even less time, Netflix created some controversy this week. I know that Sybil Triggerboff and Dorothy Rothstein are really upset about this. What was the controversy? They were testing a new feature that would allow users to speed up the video playback as fast as 1.5 times the original speed. So what's the problem? The news was met with intense backlash because the show creators and the movie directors who want their creations to be seen as they intended were all bent out of shape. One actor wrote this feature would allow Netflix to completely take control of everyone else's art and destroy it. You see the problems that we have, my friends? This is a very important burning issue today. I knew that you would want to hear about this. I want to interrupt myself and say hello to the very reverend label. Lawrence, good morning to you. Harvey, happy birthday to you. Jean, thank you. Joanne, Jonathan Wolf, Mazel Tov. I saw the picture of you sleeping with your little grandson. Baruch Hashem, beautiful. And Joanne is all the way from, hello, Patty Fuchs. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. So here's our problem. What did you do with the extra hour last night? We find that the story of Noah's flood describes how God did a hard reset on the world, undoing all that he had created and restarted the world anew. God took such a drastic measure. Why? Why did he destroy the world with a flood? The Torah tells us the world had become filled with corruption and moral depravity. People had violated the boundaries of behavior. So God removed the boundaries that protected the earth from the water. It was kind of measure for measure. Here comes the Talmud and steps in with a very mysterious comment and tells us that the generation of the flood became corrupt as a result of the great blessing that God had bestowed them. What does that mean? What was the great blessing that God bestowed upon them? The key to understanding this can be found in Noah's name. The Torah tells us Lemech named his son. He was the father of Noah. He called him Noah. Why did he call him Noah? Because Noah, this child, he was talking about his own child, will bring rest from our work, from the toil of our hands, from the ground which God had cursed. And Rashi explains, what are you talking about? You see, up until that time, till Noah's time, the world had continued to suffer from the curse that God gave Adam. What was the curse? You will have to work with the sweat of your brow and draw bread from the ground. So until Noah was born, man labored from morning to night and worked tirelessly with his bare hands just to have food to eat, leaving no recreational time or downtime to listen to this program. So what happened? Lemech saw prophetically, the father of Noah, that Noah was destined to invent the plow and other agricultural tools that would make man much more efficient and would ease his burden. And therefore his father called him Noah. Noah, from the word Noach or Menucha, to rest, because he would come up with the plow and would provide a relief. So the plow and the other tools are considered a great blessing. And therefore the Talmud references that they were bestowed upon this generation. So they had all this ability, and yet they became corrupt with it. The inventions and the progress yielded, of course, when you have the plow and the other tools, you had more time because you finished plowing your field much quickly. And time is obviously a blessing and a gift. It can be used constructively, productively, and meaningfully. Instead, what did the era, the generation of Noah do? Instead, the generation discovered the downtime, because they had things were going faster, and used it for corrupt activity. The breakthrough and the advancement could have brought spiritual ascent. Instead, what did they do with their time? It brought moral decline. I want to say hello to Rick Bullock and everybody listening to us as well, of course. Thank you so much. Someone actually shared with me the story of his friend's grandmother, a Holocaust survivor, who made her way to the United States with the characteristics of perseverance of one who would not allow Hitler to win, and despite her poverty, she raised her children to value life, learning, and the Jewish nation. Okay. So at a point in the 1960s, after a number of years of saving penny by penny, she had finally saved up enough money to buy an electric washing machine. On that day when she purchased the washing machine, she called her children in and told them, "Until now, I've been spending an enormous amount of time washing clothing by hand. But now that we have a machine, I have discovered something that I haven't had until now: free time. Now I no longer need to spend all the day at home. Guess what? We're going to the library. If we have free time, it's good to be used for learning." And so I bring this to your attention, dear friends, because we're blessed to live in the greatest era of technological breakthrough of all time. Right? Simple tasks that used to eat up our time can now be accomplished in seconds or through automation in no time at all. We've advanced from washing machines to dishwashers to bread machines, microwaves, to time-saving modern wonders like GPS, like men who don't ask for directions have a machai with their GPSs, lightning-fast computers in our pockets, in the smart homes, and more. So now the question is, do we use this newfound time to pursue frivolous activities and indulge in who knows what kind of experiences? Or do we use the time we are gaining with each breakthrough for meaningful, productive, and constructive activities? Are our greater comfort and expanded time leading us to moral decay and decline? Or can we say with moral development and progress? See, have you ever found yourself wishing there were more than 24 hours in the day? Well, here's the rabbi to tell you. This weekend, our dream came true. With a clock change last night, we were gifted an extra hour. Someone told me actually that in Israel, there's a rabbi there who runs a beautiful learning program the night the clock is changed. What does he tell the people? We claim that we want to learn and we don't have time. Well, guess what? Each fall we gain an extra hour. So what are you going to do with it? So I ask you, what did you do last night? Did you just stay up out later, a little longer? Did you watch it just a little bit more? Or did we use it to read the book we claim we never had time to read, or to learn Torah that we say we wish we had time to learn? So this is the question this morning. Are we going to waste this extra hour or utilize it? Are we going to let it slip away or embrace it with something meaningful with learning, spirituality? And I would say at this point, in the merit of utilizing our extra hour for something noble and meaningful, may all of us be blessed to find many extra hours during the year to further our commitment to Torah and advancement in our personal growth. So I realize that time is our most valuable resource, and I know that Judaism places great emphasis on using our time wisely for study, for doing mitzvahs, good deeds. But we waste a lot of time on the internet rather than spending our time on worthwhile activities. So how is it possible to use every minute productively? In truth, Judaism puts a lot of stress on using our time productively. We see that in the way that the Torah describes Abraham and David, King David, when they reached their old age. The verses describing them, at that point, they says, Bo bayomim, that's the Hebrew word for they came with their days. In other words, they reached old age with a life that filled with days. Each was used to its fullest. So how can we use our spare time and life more fully? So I thought I'll put together some suggestions that might keep us and our days more focused on what really matters. And meanwhile, I want to say hello to Lori Polanski McCrossin. Thank you so much. Wow, they're watching in Israel, coming all the way from Israel. Thank you so much. So let's. I think the first thing in using our time productively is plan. If you plan your day in advance in a good way to ensure that you use your time, it's going to turn out to be used more properly. The more structure we have of our day, the less likely we're going to go out and waste it. People plan to help people, plan to study every day, learn online. There's an infinite amount of Torah to be learnt. If you're already on the internet, why don't you read an article on Chabad.org or watch a wonderful lecture? So, time spent on the internet can also be imbued with holiness. When you catch yourself wasting time, stop and switch activities. Why don't we pause and reflect? The most important question to ask ourselves, if a given activity is helping us to develop a closer relationship with God or to ourselves or distancing us from that goal. Does it bring more respect that we have for each other or the opposite? What we're doing is of less importance than why we're doing it and how the activities affects us. Every moment has the seed of greatness in it. Of course, depends on how we use it. So while we go through the day, let's evaluate our activities to see if they bring us closer to our spiritual goal. Sharing lunch with a friend, laughing together, giving each other emotional support can be a positive activity. Sitting together and gossiping isn't. So we find a way to imbue ourselves with a spiritual dimension. I mean, let's face it. The ultimate time manager is Shabbos. When your work flows into Shabbos, it takes on form and substance. With time set aside for spiritual rejuvenation, you can actually start each week refreshed with clarity. There's a famous saying, more than the Jewish people kept the Shabbos, Shabbos has kept us. What does that mean? We separate ourselves for a day from the demands of the week and from the internet for one day a week, and that sets the tone for the rest of the week. We use our time best when we live a life of purpose, learning, contributing to the world. However, it also need to make sure that we're recharging our batteries so we have enough energy to do this. And there are people who try so hard to squeeze every second out of every moment, thinking that it's a waste of time to relax and enjoy themselves and spend time with their families And they don't do this because their life is so all over the place. So each of us have a choice in how we spend our hours in the days that we live on this earth. Sometimes we're not going to make good choices. That's human. However, every second holds the potential for a positive choice. If we strive most of the time to use our days to develop and actualize that spiritual potential, wow, then of course we can also too live a life of old age like our holy ancestors with all of our days. So let's wish each other a great time. Let me just say hello to the new people who've joined us. Hello, Karen Dombeck, Stephen White. Good morning, Stephen. Our best wishes to you and long life to the entire White's family. So here's another thought that I've been thinking about, my friends. Have you ever been in a workout class and been instructed to sprint on a serious incline or to do some crazy amount of burpees, only to find yourself responding by uttering a swear word under your breath? In fact, I just spoke to a friend of mine on Friday, and he says what makes him really work harder, he watches on Netflix a real, horrible movie. It makes him work harder. It seems society says that you don't have to feel ashamed, for science just found out that cursing actually helps your fitness performance. You think I'm off the wall? It's published in the Journal of Psychology of Sports and Exercise. And it's looked at people completely doing two different kinds of workouts. One was on a stationary bike, and the other one was on a hand grip strength to see if saying swear words aloud will help them in their fitness game. Turns out that not only does it feel good, but audibly cursing actually boosted the participants' strength. On the bike, swearing caused, listen, write this down, Sybil, swearing caused a 4.6% increase of initial power in a 30-second test. And in the hand grip test, you hear this, Kim? It resulted in an 8.2% increase when compared to a G-rated workout session. So according to the experts, those bad words that might help alleviate the pain you're feeling as you're working out your muscles. Oh, Gewalt, there's a doctor, Dr. Spira. He says cursing allows people to shut down their inhibitions. Ganze mice. You know where he's from, this Dr. Spira? He's from Long Island University in Brooklyn. From Brooklyn, no less. In this way, he says, using swear words might be helpful in any circumstance when muscle strength and the sudden burst of force is required. So the next time you're doing something strenuous in your workout class, should you go ahead and curse out? Oy vey, my friends, you knew it's coming. Allow me to burst that bubble. Are you curious? What does Judaism say about cursing and curse words? Someone this week said to me, I've heard the line that our bodies are a temple and that defaming God's name is very bad. But what about a little curse? Am I saying it right? Little curse. That's how they say it in Brooklyn. Little curse here and there. What's so bad? The answer is, think of someone wise, kind, and caring. The type of man or woman you deeply respect, and you look up to them as a role model. Can you imagine such a person spewing out filthy language in a sudden moment of rage? Probably not. And for good reason. This just isn't a holy thing to do. We find in the Torah the concept of kedoshim to you, which means to be holy. Now, this is a mitzvah. It's one of the commandments. Now, there's so many mitzvahs out there that relate to, all kinds of life. And so what does it mean to be holy? You do any good deed, you become holy. So the sages explain the word holy means to be distinct, to be separate. And what does it mean, says the sages? You actually reflect on yourself of being a holy person if you separate yourself from cursing, vulgar language. Maimonides, the famous Maimonides, he explains that a person can be disgusting with permission of the Torah, so to speak, because he's using language and he's using it in a disgusting way. In other words, the Torah itself demands that we go beyond the parameters it sets for you and live a life that's distinguished, uplifted. And Torah is not just telling us this is you do, this you don't. There's something you have to do on your own to get up there. to go beyond just following instructions. And the truth is, by using language, does more than just keep you from being one step above. It actually people who swear must realize it actually schleps them down. The Talmud speaks very harshly about people who speak in a vulgar way. Although we generally think of speech as just just a word, in truth, it has an impact on our inner self. Not only what goes in our mouth, but what comes out of our mouth. The words that leave our mouth make an imprint on our mind and our heart. No matter how high you are on the rope of fine, noble character, a few rotten words can throw you back to the ground. And the flip side is also good. A crude person can become more refined if he improves the way he speaks. This is why guarding one's tongue is considered one of the first steps a person must take in correcting serious character flaws. So, is the choice word after stubbing a toe a horrible sin? No, maybe not, but being careful that all words that leave your mouth are holy is an important part of living a holy life. So, we may be able to cow people into submission through screaming and cursing, but fear is not respect. The profanity really masks a lack of real power. You know, all these comedians, they think that the more swear words they say, the better they are. Forget about it. It can be like one of those increase your power exercises, right? Remember those days people used to actually read Reader's Digest, and it gives you this increase your word power, and telling you of appropriate substitutes for words. Think how much more articulate and eloquent we become. Think how much more elevated and dignified we'll be. We'll be reaching for a spiritual instead of a sinking to the physical. And what everyone's grandmother or grandaunt used to say, right? Remember we used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. How can we apply this to this as well? Certainly, silence is preferable to a barrage of vulgarity that assaults our ears and our eyes, I would say, all around us. I can't believe it, how much stuff I hear all the time. There's another kind of non-kosher speech that's disgusting. You know, these curse words, nivel peh in Hebrew. Again, what's wrong with an occasional curse word? Come on. Torah teaches us the way one acts on the outside affects what we are on the inside. So even if a person is basically good, once he begins to speak in a crude way, his character will become negatively affected. The more crude a person's speech, the more crude he becomes. Idle chatter also falls into this category of impure speech. We shouldn't be talking just for the sake of talking. Because if we keep on talking too much, it leads us to gossiping about others simply because a person has nothing better to say. And of course, second, in Judaism, there's a concept that each person is allocated a certain amount of words in their lifetime. You don't want to run out of words. Right? Many times people say, I don't know what to say. You better be careful, because you may be running out of what to say because you've been talking too much, wasting the wonderful ability to speak. So here's the problem that I know everybody's thinking, Rabbi, you made a good argument about not cursing. So what am I supposed to say when I'm on the treadmill and I want to pump myself up? What substitute words could you say to yourself instead of cursing? According to these, these studies, and you feel like the curse to boost your strength, what words should you say? And I was thinking about this. I have the perfect words. I have, from my years as a rabbi, I have the perfect words that makes people's hearts palpitate. Their boil starts to boil. They get excited and they start to run. Do you know what those words are? And you can say that when you're on the treadmill. Rabbi says, make a donation. The rabbi says the word appeal. Oh, you ever see how people react when the rabbi asks for a donation or make an appeal? Oh, their blood temperature starts to boil. I mean, you can't imagine. The shul suddenly disappears. Everybody's on the run. And I take it as a compliment, because everybody's running out of the synagogue because they're so excited. They all want to have exercise. So next time you're on the treadmill and you're doing a grip, whatever, you're doing some exercises, and you really want to pump yourself up, just think about the last time the rabbi asked you to make an appeal and how you reacted. It'll definitely make you excited. And hopefully to go to the telephone and make a donation. Oh, no appeals today. Oh, there's this guy getting so excited already. So, my friends, on a day like this, when we are given an extra hour, think about time. And the Rebbe, the Lubavitch Rebbe, once explained, how do you make more success with time? I want to say hello to Zalman. Thank you, Zalman Wag. And to Laura Polanski, thank you so much. How do you make more success with time? Come on, it's only 60 seconds to the minute and only 60 minutes to the hour. What are you talking about? How can you make more success with time? And the Rebbe often told the story of the very famous Rishon, a very famous rabbi who lived in the Middle Ages, and he accomplished success with time. Now, understand how busy he was. He was a teacher. He was a doctor. He wrote all kinds of books. And he even found time to be able to walk a half an hour a day on the boardwalk in his neighborhood by the river edge. And they asked him, how can you have time? You know, your mind is in this and that and that. You know, how do you... And he said, this is my advice, he said. To be successful with time is not doing a lot of things, but whatever you're doing, put your full mind to what you're doing at the particular moment. Right now, you're listening to the radio. Right now, I'm thinking about our conversation today. That's where my mind is. If a person puts their mind into whatever they're doing in a particular moment, with full quality of time, they are more successful. It's when we're sitting here, or I see today in the workplace, and wherever I go, everyone, in the middle of the day, they got to look at their iPhones. They got to make an order. Their mind is elsewhere. The work suffers. The mind is everywhere else. So how do a person make success with time? Is if the person puts their full focus in what they're doing. There may be not more than 60 seconds to the minute or 60 minutes to the hour, but the quality of that time, because a person was focused on the subject at hand, is immensely elevated to the highest world, the highest levels. This is your host, Rabbi Pearl. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's use our time well. Have a wonderful time.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by the NYCB Theater at Westbury, who presents Paul Anka, celebrating 60 years, on Friday, November 9th at 8 p.m. More information is available online at thetheateratwestbury.com. This program is brought to you by Stu Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods, located at 1897 Front Street in East Meadow and inside Airport Plaza on Route 110 in Farmingdale. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's where rule number 1 is that the customer is always right. And rule number 2 is if the customer is ever wrong, reread rule number 1. More information can be found online at StuLeonards.com. Come
on, everybody. Let's sing along the spruce.
Say it! Show a little. You ain't a beauty, but that's all right.
Join me, Kim Tracy, for the music of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band every Sunday at 1 p.m. on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC and with the iHeartRadio and TuneIn apps.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
The
voice of Nassau Community College.
A 2019 Marconi Award finalist from the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC HD Garden City.
Available anytime on your smart speaker.
And anywhere on iHeartRadio.
I'm looking for a record for my daughter for her birthday. I just called to say I love you. Do you have it?
Yeah. Great, we have it.
Great. Can I have it then?
No, you can't.